The Saturday market review. We'll kick it off with the usual. So we'll start with the Nasdaq. Actually, let's start with the Dixie first and see what's going on with the Dixie. So I want to focus on the weekly chart. So what we can see is last week I was talking about this dead crossing coming, and we rallied into the dead cross initially, and went after the dead cross. We've kind of had a dump. I think there's another dead crossing coming, which is the 50 SMA versus the 200 SMA, and that will definitely give us a much bigger drop. But before that, I'd expect a rally. So I'd expect us to rally into that dead crossing coming. So going into next week, I'm expecting a rally. And if you were to step it back to the daily, you can see that there is a bit of price suppression here, as you can see, and we've got a gap also that needs to be closed. So the target for us has been hit in terms of the downside. We've hit our interest box. I still think there's still more downside on this. I think there's still more on it because one of my interest candles hasn't been exceeded yet. So we came close to it, and I've got 4 targets somewhere here. So I think there's more to it. Let me get rid of that one. There's more to it in terms of downside, but next week I'm expecting this to go up. I'm expecting this to kind of have a bounce to the other side. I mean, if you go to the 4 hours, you can see that it's probably already starting from there. You can see, so you got like a double bottom here, and you would expect this to continue going up. So that's the dollar. I expect more upside. Excuse me. In terms of targets, I would probably put our interest box now somewhere here as the area of, let's get this one here, get that there. I would like to, let's get this into here. Okay, that should be fine. I think that should be fine for my area of interest. Going to close these gaps here, close these gaps, so we could come all the way up to here. So that is the Dixie. Let's move on to the next pair. So let's move on to the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, what you can see on the Nasdaq, our kind of interest box is being filled. So we went higher. And we've exceeded our interest box. If I put it up on a weekly chart, we have a new all-time high, which is great. I want to have a quick look at volume and see what the volume is doing. So we've gone higher, lower volume. Okay, so that's a lower volume than this. It's interesting. There are some obvious divergences that let me just have a quick look here, make sure if there's any weekly divergences that we can see here. So let's make this bigger, so you can see that here. So here you can see you've got your divergences here, this peak and that, and if you compare them, you can see that here this peak and that peak, and the RSI is not higher. So there's a divergence on the weekly chart. Sometimes it can take a while for these divergences to play out. Let me look at the daily, step to the daily. So on the daily chart, what you can see here is the volume is looking good. So we got good volume. We closed also outside the KC channel. I think we did. Yeah, we closed outside the KC channel, which means, and the Bollinger Band, which means I think again we had this close and we went higher. So I think there's probably one more leg to the upside. There's a few more. I think there's one more leg to the upside. So we'll move this interest box. Let's make it a bit smaller, and let's move it to here. I think we'll go slightly high. I think we'll go higher on the Nasdaq. So there might be if you go into 4 hours, this is like people taking profit at the top, but I mean we have a rejection at the bottom of the candle. So Yeah, I think this thing will keep on going up. There's no real divergence on this 4 hour chart for me to kind of play off the back of. So it will continue going up. We'll have some more upside on this. So I'm expecting more upside on the Nasdaq. Maybe you can come back and retest because you've broken the tops. We can do a retest to somewhere here around the 22173. So, you know, we can put another interest box there, a mini interest box here that, you know, if we get pullback, then we might get something that goes across here, you know, something like that. To retest the move to the upside, you know, you could get something like that. So that would be probably what I would say in terms of a pullback. And if the retest holds, then you can expect us to go very high. So it's looking good on the Nasdaq. Let's move on to the SPX. XPX also to hit a new all-time high. So this is the weekly chart. We've gone higher, new all-time high. The XPX actually looks much better, I think. So yeah, this looks good. It looks very good. We've closed outside the Bollinger Band, so you're gonna, worst case scenario, come back and you know, touch the band, and the band is sitting at 66051. So that's the worst case scenario. So we'll get rid of this interest box. The upper interest box was hit. I will move the upper interest box higher because I think this thing is going to go higher. So move that slightly higher. Yeah, we're going to go higher next week. And if we bring it to the daily chart, again, it's looking really strong. There's no real proper, you know, with the exception of me comparing maybe here to here. But even that one, if we look at the RSI, 69.16, and this was 69.04. So we've gone higher and the RSI is lower. So there's a divergence on the daily chart, but there isn't much of a divergence on the weekly chart yet, except for comparing this point here, which is 62.41, and we're at what, 61.58. So that's the only, I guess, only caveat. But this looks good. This looks really good. We've broken the tops on strong candle, strong volume. I expect this to continue going up for a while. So looking positive there. Maybe, like I say, we could have a small pullback to test the tops here around like 6120. So you could move this here to 6120, somewhere there. You know, you could get something like that as a pullback. And like I said, I didn't want us to fall below here, and we never did, which is good. So close that, we don't need that. So that's really looking good so far on the SPX as well. And then let's look at gold. Excuse me, gold. So gold on the weekly chart. I mean, last week we did predict gold to come down, and it's come down quite a bit. It's not finished yet. I think, you know, it's coming in definitely into the target zone. So I'm gonna leave it there. I have a 4 target all the way down here. So gold will be obviously going down for a few more weeks. That hasn't changed, and so I'm not going to waste too much time on gold. And then I think we've got, I think those are the normal pairs. And then I'm quickly going to look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin on the CME chart, let's look at the CME chart. So you can see here on the CME chart, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. We don't need it anymore. On the weekly chart, so they closed a good green. The only concern for me is our MACD is not green, but the volume is quite strong. You know, it engulfs this volume here. It's quite strong. We closed higher than last week's candle, which means the down is being broken and we are on our way to go higher, I would say. And there's a divergence as well. So there's a divergence here. So we may come back to the line that I've drawn here as a retest zone, maybe the 105, 450, somewhere there to retest and then continue going up. But I would expect more upside now, rather than coming into, say, like, you know, 90, coming below this candle. This candle, I don't think we're coming below this candle. No. we're definitely going up higher. So that's the CME chart, and I'm just going to look at the Binance chart as well. So the Binance perpetual chart. Oh, this is too messy for a chart. I've got too many things on it. Let's look at something which is a bit cleaner, like the Coinbase one. So let's get rid of that. We don't need it. Again, it's showing that same picture. Very strong volume. Yeah, and I think we'll close green this week. Yeah, we'll definitely close the week green, and we'll go up higher. But worst case scenario, I mean, this thing comes back down here to retest these zones here. 104, some maybe 104, 300, or even if you put it slightly high, somewhere there, maybe as a pullback before you continue going up. But this is looking really strong, and I expect more upside here. That 96,000 is off the table now. We'll do a new all-time high rather than coming down to those zones. So that's it for me in terms of a Saturday update. Tomorrow we'll do altcoins. But I guess maybe before I go, let me just actually do a quick recap of Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, as you can see, so we've gone higher volume, higher volume, and we've gone higher on lower volume. Now, the week is not closed, but when I go to the daily chart, what I can see on the daily chart is we've got yesterday, Friday, we closed red, and there's a divergence between here and here, right? So I expect more downside on Bitcoin dominance. If you go to the 12-hour chart, we've got a double top here and here. So here and here, you've got a double top. We've tried to go up and been rejected. So I expect more downside on Bitcoin dominance, right? Now, if this double top plays up, then, you're talking breaking the low of this from here to there. You're talking it breaking, coming down to break this 50 EMA and SMA. So, there's a lot of a drop, and I expect it to come all the way down here at the very least. So it's looking good so far on Bitcoin dominance as well. So that's all I've got for this Saturday. Tomorrow, I'll give you an update on Bitcoin and altcoins.